Imagine a country that adds less than 1% to a global problem but pays 100% of the price. A price measured not just in money, but in drowned villages, scorched fields, and generations forced from their homes. This is the cruel irony defining Pakistan's climate reality. It's a nation on the front lines of a war it didn't start, facing a threat it did not create, despite contributing less than 0.9% to global greenhouse gas emissions. Pakistan consistently ranks among the top 10 most vulnerable countries to climate change. This isn't just an environmental statistic, it's a humanitarian crisis that challenges the very survival of the state and its people. Today, we dive into the heart of this crisis, the causes, the catastrophic impacts, and the urgent roadmap for survival in what has become the age of adaptation. To understand Pakistan's vulnerability, we first need to understand what's driving global climate change. Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. While some of these shifts happen naturally, the current crisis is primarily man-made, driven by human activities that release heat-trapping gases into the atmosphere, a process that began in earnest around the 1800s. The main mechanism is the greenhouse effect. The single largest driver is the burning of fossil fuels, coal oil, and gas for energy and transport. This releases gases like carbon dioxide and methane that trap heat. Second, deforestation reduces the planet's ability to absorb that carbon dioxide, making things worse. And third, industrial agriculture releases significant amounts of methane and nitrous oxide. This crisis is also fundamentally one of global inequality. Historically, industrialized nations like the US, European countries, and more recently, China, have been the biggest emitters. Their economic growth was fueled by carbon-intensive industries, and the environmental bill is now being paid disproportionately by countries in the global south, including Pakistan. This reality is the basis for the entire debate around climate justice. So, why is Pakistan, a low emitter, so incredibly vulnerable? It's a convergence of geography, economics, and demographics. Placing it in a geographic bullseye, Pakistan's destiny is tied to water. The country is home to over 7,000 glaciers, the largest number outside the polar regions. But rising temperatures are melting them at an unprecedented rate. In the short term, this causes devastating glacial lake outburst floods. In the long term, it threatens catastrophic water scarcity as the source dries up. Pakistan's economy is often called the gift of the Indus. The Indus River Basin is the nation's lifeblood, and when it either floods or dries up due to erratic monsoons, it cripples the livelihoods of nearly 40% of the workforce. On top of that, Pakistan is in a heat-intensive zone where temperatures are rising much faster than the global average. Much of the country is already arid or set, as temperatures soar past 50 degrees Celsius in places like Jacobabad. Large areas are becoming functionally uninhabitable. Finally, high population density in hazardous areas like coastal belts and riverbanks, combined with economic fragility, means people have a very low capacity to recover from climate shocks. The human cost of this crisis is staggering. Climate change is now visibly tearing apart the traditional social contract, where the state is expected to guarantee basic safety. The devastating 2022 superfloods were a grim preview of the future. They submerged one-third of the country and displaced 33 million people. The human cost is seen in the migration of climate refugees from vulnerable zones. See, intrusion in the Indus Delta has swallowed coastal villages, forcing people to move. The impacts are felt most severely by the youngest and most vulnerable, seen in the stunted growth of children in drought-hit regions like Tar. In this new reality, the concept of national security must fundamentally change. It's no longer just about protecting borders. It's about food security, water security, and protection from deadly heat waves. The state's legitimacy now hinges on its ability to build climate resilience infrastructure that can survive the new normal. Pakistan has recognized this existential threat and has shifted its focus from mitigation, which is about reducing global emissions, to adaptation, which is about survival. Building a climate-resilient Pakistan requires a whole-of-nation approach, with responsibilities spanning the global community, the government, and its citizens. Since Pakistan is a victim of others' excess, the international community has a moral and legal obligation to assist. The Pakistani government must treat climate change as a national security emergency. Climate risk must be integrated into every budget and development project. For example, no road should be built without a drainage analysis. The existing national climate change policy needs real enforcement, including strict bans on construction in floodplains. The government must also enforce strict bans on water-intensive crops, like sugarcane, in water-scarce zones and heavily subsidize efficient water use, like drip irrigation. It's time for realistic water pricing to curb waste. Infrastructure like dams, canals, and roads must be designed to withstand extreme weather. Cities prone to flash flooding, like Karachi, need sponge city infrastructure, permeable pavements, and green spaces to absorb runoff. Critically, the state must move from reactive relief to proactive preparedness. Early warning systems must be expanded to the last mile, reaching remote villagers who may not have access to smartphones. But this new social contract is a two-way street. Citizens cannot be passive observers. They must become active guardians. In a water-scarce nation, wasting water by washing cars with hoses is a crime against the community. We must all treat water as a scarce resource. Citizens must also adopt a reduce, reuse, refuse mentality toward plastic. The plastic bags choking our drains are a major cause of urban flooding. Stop dumping waste in sewers and rivers. Reducing personal energy consumption directly lowers the national import bill and our reliance on polluting fuels. And finally, actively participate in tree plantation drives to reduce heat islands in crowded cities. Pakistan stands at a critical crossroads. Climate change is not a distant debate. It is the current reality of survival. The human cost is measured in the lost potential of millions of displaced families and stunted children. While the world must honor its debts through climate finance, Pakistan must internally reorganize its society and governance to survive. The state's legitimacy depends on its ability to protect citizens from climate shocks. Failure to do so will lead to unrest and instability. Ultimately, the future requires a new social contract, one that is green, resilient, and inclusive, because without it, there may be no social order left to govern. The battle for Pakistan's future is the battle for climate resilience. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to spread awareness.